How important is addressing trauma in addiction recovery, and what role does it play?
Trauma for a lot of individuals is the key component that stokes the addiction. Anytime I have had a traumatic experience in my life and I have not processed or worked through that, anything that triggers that off, that reptilian part of the brain says, I'm about to die, fight or flight. How do we numb the pain and how do we seek this pleasure? So the reason why this is important is because, again, if I condition my brain this way, I don't ever have to go through and actually process or even evaluate the trauma. I don't have to do the work. And this is the part that's so tough because most traumatic experiences in the first stages, we somehow think it's our fault. And that's so much pain to take on. So what we do instead is we continue to relive the traumatic experience or experiences and take what's in the past and bring it to the present. And this is what continually creates the pain and that actually fuels the addiction. So this is why the first step is to take enough time off of the drugs or alcohol. And then through, like what we do here is we have amazing therapists. We have a psychiatrist that really knows medication incredibly well. And it's a whole approach that they come together for a wholeness to really address what's going on. So the individual can deal with the trauma, to be able to work with it and through it so they can go on to live healthier lives.
What are the key factors that determine whether someone stays sober after treatment?
It's gonna sound super simple, but just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. Doing the daily work. So one of the analogies I like using with a lot of the guys is, I think it's a very great direct correlation to recovery. Imagine not showing up to work for 30 days, and then on payday, you show up and tell your boss, I'm here for my paycheck. When I tell the guys this off, they just kind of laugh. I'm like, what would happen if you didn't work for a whole month and then you show up saying, I have an expectation to be paid for a month? What would your boss say? Every single time they kind of laugh, like, oh, they'd say, beat it. Recovery is the same way. If I'm not doing the daily work and I'm expecting the payment, if I'm expecting the result, now in the real world here with payment, it's so obvious. We want to take that to the realm of recovery. And when I say doing the daily work, this is where the 5 foundational freedoms came from, of doing the 5 to thrive, looking for the perfect 10, which the vernacular is in here, but it's doing the daily work, making sure that you are addressing every area of your life and just doing those small little daily steps every single day. And then you get the fruit, you get the result. Now, the sad thing is if you don't do it a day, it doesn't mean all of a sudden you go back and revert. Here's where we see people struggle. They don't do it one day and they go, see, I'm still fine. And then one day turns into 3 or 4, sometimes a week, and they go, I'm still fine. I don't need to do the work. Problem is we get so far away from the work that eventually we no longer get the results.
How does community and connection impact a person's ability to maintain long-term sobriety?
So one of my favorite definitions of addiction is isolation. Anytime we're looking at a definition, we can look at the antonym, just the opposite. If isolation is addiction, that means connection is recovery. When we understand that, this is why now there's camps that love AA, there's camps that hate AA. Regardless of where you stand in that, one of the primary principles is community and actually having a mentor. They call it a sponsor, someone there for accountability, but also for guidance. So connection and community is one of the most powerful and potent things needed, not necessarily desired, not would be nice, needed for ongoing recovery. The reason why is if we go back, so we're still kind of new with being industrialized as human beings. We look back at all the hundreds of thousands of years, we've always been in tribes. That means community, that means connection. If we weren't in community or connection, they would actually kick someone out if they did something irrehensible. This person would die. That part of the brain still says, so anytime we're rejected from community, from connection, that part of the brain goes, I'm gonna die. And that's what triggers. I'm not saying it's a valid excuse, but I want you to understand this is the part that triggers the brain that we're not aware. This is on the unconscious. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. I might as well sedate because the tribe just kicked me out. So we wanna have accountability. We wanna have boundaries, but that connection and community is so important when it comes to long-term recovery.